Good evening, welcome to Viewpoint. I'm Zaka Jacob. Zydus Cadilla's Zycov-D has become the fourth vaccine to apply for emergency use. The company is hoping that they can hit the market within 45 to 60 days after getting the necessary regulatory approvals. Now, what makes this vaccine stand out? Two things. One, it's the world's first DNA-based vaccine. And two, it'll become the first vaccine in India that can be administered to young adults between the ages of 12 and 18. And that begs the question, how soon can we get a vaccine for our children?
Vaccinating kids has become the next big focus for India, as fear of the third wave looms large.
Most vaccinologists feel that the vaccines should be safe in children, and we should get the trials done quickly. So hopefully in the next 3-4 months, we will have vaccines which will be approved for children.
Zydus Cadila has requested emergency use approval for its Zycov-D vaccine. It says the vaccine is safe for children between 12 and 18 years. Zycov-D is the world's first plasmid DNA vaccine. It uses a non-replicating plasmid, which carries the gene of interest. So the vaccine will push the body to build antibodies against coronavirus. This, as the inserted DNA sequence will match the sequence pattern of the virus. The Zycov-D vaccine is to be administered in 3 doses and is needle-free.
In the phase 2, we did cover a very small number of children where we have submitted immunogenicity, which is equivalent to adults. The phase, the 1,000 patient children immunogenicity data is still underway, and we will be submitting it in the next 4 weeks, if so, 4 to 6 weeks. We believe that if everything goes right, we can produce by December 5 crore doses.
Bharat Biotech is currently carrying out clinical trials of Covaxin for 12 to 18-year-olds. More than 500 children are part of these trials being conducted at the All India Institute of Medical Sciences in Delhi and Patna. Serum Institute of India sought permission to conduct a trial of Covovax on children in the 12 to 17 and 2 to 11 age groups. But it has been shot down by an expert panel, and the company has been told to complete trials on adults first. Vaccines for children is an area where India is treading very carefully. There is reason for it. Firstly, there is limited data or studies of pediatric trials. And secondly, the World Health Organization hasn't been very vocal because the number of children falling ill has been less compared to adults.
WHO ने अभी कोई रिकमेंडेशन नहीं दिया कि इन जनरल पीडियाट्रिक पॉपुलेशन को आप कवर करें। उसकी वजह ये है कि पीडियाट्रिक पॉपुलेशन में जब इलनेस होती है तो वो इलनेस वेरी वेरी माइल्ड होती है, हार्डली एनी डेथ होती है, नेग्लिजिबल डेथ होती है। तो अगर हम डेथ की पैराडाइम पे जाएं एज अ पब्लिक हेल्थ ऑब्जेक्टिव, सो ये लोअर प्रायोरिटी पे चलता है और एसिम्प्टोमेटिक होता है, बच्चों को पता भी नहीं होता।
The US, Canada and EU have all authorized Pfizer-BioNTech's vaccine for use in children as young as 12. Moderna is seeking authorization for its vaccine for kids between 12 to 17 years. It is claiming 93% efficacy. Both Pfizer and Moderna have started vaccine trials in children between ages 6 months and 11 years. But the big question is, how soon can India start vaccinating kids? And will it be before the third wave hits? Anisya Kumar for CNN News 18.
All right, so how soon before we start vaccinating our kids? Dr. Jaleel Parker is Senior Pulmonary Consultant with Leelavati Hospital in Bombay. Dr. Joseph Brito is former consultant and honorary senior lecturer in the Pediatric Intensive Care at the Imperial College in St. Mary's Hospital, London. Dr. Sunila Garg is a member of the Lancet Commission, also a member of the COVID-19 Task Force of India. Dr. Parker, I'll start with you. First of all, the Zydus Cadila vaccine that is applied for emergency use, what is a point of interest is that it's the first vaccine, if and when it's approved, it'll be the first vaccine in India which can be administered to younger adults between 12 and 18. And the big question in the minds of all parents is, how soon can we get our kids vaccinated so that we can send them back to school?
Well, see, everybody has come into this game of vaccination right now. Most of the multinationals are into it, and each one will come up with a product which they would like it to be the first ones to come in, so that in our country, for example, and even abroad, children have not yet been vaccinated or have minimally been vaccinated. In India, I think it is still a time to go. The approvals have to be in place. I think whatever studies that need to be done on the age group that is desired, those reports need to be out. Only then I think this vaccination will be
No,
allowed.
but what
to
is
be
the delay?
administered.
If you can just
And
explain to our viewers, why is the vaccine response or the way the body responds to the vaccine, why is that different in younger adults, particularly 12 to 18? I'm not even looking at children, but 12 to 18. How is that different from the way a normal adult would respond?
No, I don't think there is the 12 to 18. They do not respond to the vaccinations. I think that is not the issue over here. The issue over here is the vaccines. Are they safe for the age of 12 to 18 group?
Okay.
That is because of which there is a delay. So that study needs to be done, and what is the efficacy of these vaccines in this age group. Now, unless that is certified, only then it would be administered. Otherwise, I
Okay,
don't think
let me ask
any country
Dr.
would allow
Brito,
that to
because
be administered.
abroad in the US and in the UK, the Pfizer vaccine is already being administered to younger adults between 12 and 18. I think Moderna has also applied for emergency use for the younger population. So what is it that sets apart those vaccines from the ones that we have here in India? Is it that the mRNA technology enables you to give these vaccines to younger adults in a safer manner than the other vaccines that we have?
Zaka, thank you. Zaka, let's step back for a moment. What are we trying to achieve in children when we vaccinate children? What we're trying to do is not just establish safety, but we're also trying to establish how effective is this vaccine, not just in preventing severity of illness or hospitalization and death, but crucially in children, we're trying to decrease transmission. So any vaccine that's introduced in children, and therein lies the difference, you mentioned the messenger RNA vaccine, we need to see how effective these vaccines are in decreasing transmission, because as we've discussed before, Zaka, the burden of disease in children is much lower than it is in adults. US data, sadly there isn't Indian data available, but US data suggests that just 3% of positive cases in children require hospitalization, and the mortality rate is 0.03. So when we start vaccinating healthy children, bearing in mind the low burden of disease, the only reason we're vaccinating them is not to prevent severe disease, hospitalization, and death, but to decrease transmission. Then we can open our schools. Until the transmission rate drops, as long as there's transmission in the population, there's going to be mutation, and some mutations may be gain of function mutations, which could be increasingly virulent, increasing transmission, and increasing escape from immunity. So my own view, the short answer is, where our children are concerned, Zaka, we should be seeking full approval of vaccines, not emergency use authorization, but full approval before we start vaccinating our children.
No, the reason I ask that is because children also happen to be one subset of the population who congregate in groups, whether it's in schools or in colleges, and that's been all virtual over the last year and a half or so. So, Dr. Sunila Garg, again, I'm coming back to that point. Right now, what we have is Zydus Cadila, which is applied for emergency use. The point of interest seems to be that it's the only vaccine here in India so far that can be administered to younger adults between 12 and 18. I think for the pediatric vaccine, we're largely waiting for the Bharat Biotech nasal spray or drops, whatever it might be. Why is it, scientifically speaking, medically speaking, why is it any more different than finding a vaccine that will be efficacious for adults, particularly in the 12 to 18 group? I'm not talking about young children.
See, what is more important is that we need to vaccinate children between 12 to 18 is that, because you see they come partly in adolescent groups. 10 to 19 is our adolescent age group, and we are seeing large chunk of obesity also in this age group. And these children are also suffering from comorbidities, so any infection which is bound to happen is going to be severer in nature in this group. So it is better that we prioritize this age group in terms of, vaccination, and
No,
that's
but
how
ma'am,
there's a need
the
for if at all
proportion
we
of
have to give
obesity in that
Yeah.
group would be mirroring the proportion of obesity in the general population also, no? The proportion of comorbidities in that group would be same. I would imagine it would be less than the proportion of comorbidities in the general population.
but it is there, right? If
Okay.
you have to prioritize, if you like, you cannot compare that 45 and above is also having comorbidities,
Yes.
which is much more as compared to 18 to 45. But still, we definitely look at people who are suffering from comorbidities. So it is important that these children, you see, when they go out, as compared to children, who are much younger, they are more outgoing. They have to go for their, classes and all that. And you see, we need to, if we have to prioritize, we need to look at the children who are 12 to 18 years of age group. But of course, COVID appropriate behavior is also very, very important, which needs to be followed. So these are some of the things which I feel, and it is important that we need to vaccinate as soon as the vaccine is available. But the priority will be as the vaccine is available for the adults. So we should, on a priority basis, must vaccinate the teachers and must, maintain the social distancing within the school
No,
setup, within the feasible limits.
I'm not
and
sure
then
you're
we have
getting
to-
what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to get at is simple. Schools and colleges have been shut for the better part of the last 18 months, right? And there are numerous, instances
Yes.
of depression or mental health issues that have been associated with children being stuck at home.
Absolutely.
And also, I'm not even getting into the problems of the digital divide and those children who cannot afford online classes or are not fortunate enough to afford online classes. So wouldn't that be a priority group? All I'm trying to understand is, medically speaking, why should the vaccine behave any differently in a 12 to 18 age group as compared to, let's say, an 18 to 45 age group?
See, your question is very valid. That one thing is that the schools have been closed since 1.5 years,
Yeah.
which have had a very, very adverse effect on the children in terms of not only, mental isolation, but in terms of there are couple of children, you see, who are not even able to speak. I'm talking of particularly younger children. They are only signing because they have not seen their parents talking to them much because they are also busy in their work. So it is important to treat the children, and you are telling that how the vaccine is going to behave differently. It is, you see, we have to conduct the trial on a scientific basis. That is where it may not behave differently. The dosage may be half, but definitely we have to see that each vaccine, because all of these vaccines have been subjected to emergency use authorization.
Yeah.
So it is important that whichever age group we take, so we have to do the trials which have to be conducted after, taking the children into consideration, because different, the children group are, though we may say that, right now, that the vaccine may act in the similar manner, but we have to definitely conduct a trial
Okay,
so
fair
that,
enough.
we know how
Dr. Parker,
the children are responding to these
so
vaccines.
will we, so at least here in India's case, I mean, like I said, abroad, most of the younger adults, 12 to 18 group, have been vaccinated. Certainly in the US and the UK, schools are opening this summer and so on. But here in India, are we to just then wait for this nasal vaccine to come by whenever it happens, maybe hopefully before the end of the year, and that being the primary vaccine for younger adults and for children?
Well, I think what Dr. Joseph Brito said, I totally endorse it and I agree with what he's saying. The main intention of giving vaccination to the 12 to 18 group is the spread can be controlled. That is more important rather than the severity or the criticality which we are talking about. Because the time has come where children have to go to school, if not today, tomorrow. I think we are very much late in opening up schools, which is going to have a severe mental effect on them. So I totally agree that it is for to reducing the spread that we need to vaccinate the children as early as possible so that the spread is not there and children are able to go to school. As regards to I don't think the 12 to 18 age group, they do have comorbidities, which I think was discussed earlier. That is not the issue. So I totally agree with what Dr. Joseph Brito said, and I fully endorse it.
So Dr.
And
Brito,
I feel that
I'll give you the
we
final word.
should-
Just in terms of, what you said, so far, at least in the adult population, the main aim of the vaccine was to avoid severity of illness, to ensure that, there is no hospitalization. It was not to cut down transmission. Is there any evidence to suggest that vaccination actually cuts down transmission, or should that be a whole different study, perhaps a whole different technology altogether? Because, like you said, the purpose of vaccinating younger adults so that they can attend school or university would be not to avoid avoiding hospitalization, but would be to cut down transmission.
There's very good evidence. If you look at countries like Israel, where they've measured effectiveness, efficacy is clinical trials, effectiveness is real world data, where they've actually measured the transmission following the administration of messenger RNA vaccines. They've been able to demonstrate, particularly in the last week, there's been very, very good evidence to suggest the impact of messenger RNA vaccines on decreasing transmission. Coming back to the core issue, I think we need to have a very serious discussion about opening up our schools, because India will never be vaccinated enough for us to feel comfortable. There is no numerical metric that we have to hit in that before we open up our schools. So we do need to open our schools, Zaka, for all the good reasons that you mentioned. Coming to the specific question you asked the other panelists, children do react differently. Their immunogenic response is much higher. Their innate immunity that we are born with is much more robust than in adults. So the only way to answer it, as Dr. Sunila Garg and Dr. Parker said, we do need to have studies done. The Zydus study includes, as I understand from press reports, unfortunately, the data hasn't been subjected to peer review approval. It's 1,000 children only.
Okay.
It's impressive. The overall efficacy, I think, is 66%, but we don't know what the data is in granular fashion for children. And therefore, the short answer to your question is we should decouple the opening of schools from the vaccination of our country. There will be large populations in India that will be unvaccinated and under-vaccinated and will remain so for months to come. We can't keep our schools shut for so many more months anymore.
All right, we'll leave it at that. Thank you very much, Dr. Brito, Dr. Parker, Dr. Garg, for joining us with your thoughts and perspective on how soon we can vaccinate our kids and hopefully thereafter send them back to school. Meanwhile, we're just getting in a piece of breaking news, and this is with the upcoming UP elections in mind. Remember, UP goes to polls early next year. The Samajwadi Party has now announced that will ally with smaller parties. SP Chief Akhilesh Yadav has spoken exclusively to the News 18 network. He slammed the BJP for its handling of the COVID crisis in India's largest state.
केशव मौर्य कह रहे हैं कि चुनाव के बाद मुख्यमंत्री के नाम का ऐलान। स्वामी प्रसाद मौर्य भी उसी तरह का सवाल कर रहे हैं। केंद्रीय नेतृत्व भी पूरी तरह से इस पूरे मामले पे चुप है। अब क्या लगता है कि इन दो नेताओं ने जिस तरह से रुख अपनाया है, इसको लेकर के क्या आपका रुख रहेगा?
भारतीय जनता पार्टी के अंदर की रणनीति क्या है, लेकिन ये जो दूसरों के घरों में झगड़ा कराते हैं, आज इनके घरों में झगड़ा हो गया है। और ये क्योंकि उत्तर प्रदेश की जनता को फेस नहीं कर सकते हैं, इसलिए जानबूझ करके झगड़ा दिखा रहे हैं। अंदर इनकी दोस्ती है।
एक बड़े इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर से आपकी लड़ाई है, उसमें IT सेल से लेकर तमाम लोग शामिल हैं। आपका क्या रुख होगा और क्या रोड मैप रहेगा इलेक्शन को लेकर?
भारतीय जनता पार्टी उत्तर प्रदेश की जनता से ज़्यादा बड़ी पार्टी नहीं है। उत्तर प्रदेश की जनता ने दुख दर्द तकलीफ झेली है कोविड के समय पर। कोई परिवार ऐसा नहीं है जिसके परिवार के जानने या परिचित की जान न गई हो, और जो इंतजाम करने थे सरकार असफल रही।
Now joining us, Akhilesh, saying that if at all there are going to be alliances for the SP, it's going to be with smaller, perhaps caste-based parties. No question of any alliance with any bigger parties, which means obviously the BSP, Congress, etc. are getting ruled out. What gives him the confidence, though, that these smaller party tie-ups are good enough for his party to give a challenge to the BJP? Because infrastructure-wise, the BJP is a far bigger entity than the Samajwadi Party is.
See, the Samajwadi Party is basically banking on the so-perceived anti-incumbency against the Yogi government, the alleged mismanagement during the COVID times, especially during the second wave, and of course the infighting which Akhilesh says is going on within the party. He's basically hinting out at, the annoyance of the most backward caste votes, which is often represented by likes of Keshav Prasad Maurya, who often is said to be, quite unsatisfied as far as the deals which have been offered to him. So Akhilesh clearly feels that, smaller parties like the Mahan Dal, or you say the Rajbhar party or the Nishad party, they could be adjusted, especially in eastern Uttar Pradesh, so that the most backward caste vote, the non-Yadav OBC vote about which the Samajwadi Party generally remains concerned, that could be brought into the Samajwadi Party fold. Akhilesh probably feels that MBC is at the moment annoyed with the Bharatiya Janata Party because of the alleged patronage to a particular upper caste, and therefore they are, very fertile grounds to try and explore for the Samajwadi Party. Now, as far as one of the biggest, alliance for the Samajwadi Party will, of course, will be with the Lokdal of late Chaudhry Ajit Singh, whose son Jayant Chaudhary has been working with the Samajwadi Party in Western Uttar Pradesh.
All right, we'll leave it at that. Thanks very much. Pranshu Mishra there reporting for us from Lucknow. Meanwhile, today is National Doctors Day, and can't think of a better time or a better moment to take a minute off to pay tribute to our real warriors. India celebrates its true heroes today, doctors. This is to salute their sacrifices and selfless duty, particularly during this COVID mess over the last 18 months or so. India is celebrating National Doctors Day today, the 1st of July. This is to honor the birth and death anniversary of the great physician and second Chief Minister of West Bengal, Dr. Bidhan Chandra Roy. Now, this year, the day becomes even more significant as doctors, along with the rest of the world, have faced an unprecedented crisis in COVID-19. On this occasion today, Prime Minister Modi addressed doctors during the IMA program, and in fact, he told them what a great yeoman service they've been doing this last year plus.
पिछले 1.5 साल में हमारे डॉक्टर्स ने जिस तरह देशवासियों की सेवा की है, वो अपने आप में एक मिसाल है। मैं 130 करोड़ देशवासियों की ओर से देश के सभी डॉक्टर्स को धन्यवाद देता हूं, आभार प्रकट करता हूं। देश के कई डॉक्टर्स ने अपना जीवन भी न्यौछावर कर दिया। मैं जीवन आहूत करने वाले इन सभी डॉक्टर्स को अपनी विनम्र श्रद्धांजलि अर्पित करता हूं और परिवार के प्रति अपनी संवेदना व्यक्त करता हूं।
Now, despite being better prepared, doctors faced more than their share of challenges in the second wave of COVID. On Doctors' Day, Aparna Bose has this story from Kolkata.
While we have been struggling just to stay in and be safe, they put their lives on the front line every single day for the safety and health of others. They are our healthcare workers, the heroes without capes.
डर तो लग रहा था, घर लोगों के लिए टेंशन भी होता है, तो इसलिए मैं अलग रूम पे रहता हूँ। कोई इसको टच नहीं करना है, इसलिए इसको दिक्कत के चलना पड़ता है।
डर तो होता ही है। अभी तो थोड़ा अभी का सिचुएशन थोड़ा माने ठीक बेटर है। अभी सब कोई को वैक्सीनेशन हो रहा है, इसीलिए थोड़ा बेटर है।
पहले से अभी डर कम है। पहले मुझे भी नहीं वैक्सीन नहीं थे, अब वैक्सीन लिया हूँ। फैमिली से फ़ोन में बात करती हूँ।
But despite their discipline, dedication and determination, these frontline warriors also have an understandable commitment to protect themselves as well as their loved ones.
This year, I think as a team, it's not only myself, my entire manpower, the nurses, the healthcare workers, they absolutely stretch to the hilt. And despite whatever we do for 8, 10, 12, 14 hours, at the end of the day, when we, there's a feeling of helplessness, there's a feeling of anguish that probably if we had taken the precautions in time, maybe the second wave wouldn't have been this deadly.
Healthcare workers risk their lives to save lives of others. As the battle of coronavirus becomes a long-drawn one, the healthcare workers have become more vulnerable to mental stress. Despite being more equipped and vaccinated this time, the healthcare workers continue to face psychological impacts of COVID-19.
CNN News 18 expresses appreciation and gratitude to these everyday heroes. With Aparna Bose, this is Lakshna Gulati for CNN News 18.
The pandemic has held us back for the last year and a half.
Many of us have been personally affected by it.
But there are some
who have given it their all.
Their courage,
Their sacrifice, their heroic efforts
to save those who have been affected
by the virus. They have given hope to more than 1 billion.
CNN News 18
Thanks them. They are
the doctors of this nation.
They are
the extraordinary
among us.